You can listen to The Professional Left wherever you get your podcasts, on Netroots Radio, or at our website, proleftpod.com, where you can also contribute to this podcast. There's a PayPal button at our website, or you can mail us a letter and or contribution at P.O. Box 9133, Springfield, Illinois, 62791.
This is the podcast for the week of December 12th, 2025. It's not safe for work.
Recorded live from the cornfield resistance, where the GOP's attempt to establish a Fourth Reich seems to be running into trouble. It's The Professional Left with Driftglass and Blue Gal. Yeah, Blue Gal. That Republican plan to establish a permanent fascist government, also known as Project 2025, is running into some snags, specifically where Republican lies collide with the lived experience of the people they're lying to. Those MAGA mopes they absolutely have to keep on side.
Yep, conservative media and Republican politicians can lie all they want about pedo pizza parlors and Clinton drug deals and Obama the Kenyan commie sleeper cell, and, as history has shown, the dumbed-down, rage-drunk garbage people who worship Trump as a living god will sop it all up with a biscuit and ask for seconds. These mopes love being lied to. It's why they tune into Fox all the time. Yeah. They're hooked on it, and the more lurid the lie, the better.
Yeah, it has to get more and more lurid to keep them, keep their attention. But even the most desperate, bug-eyed MAGA lie junkie cannot go on pretending that everything is great and it's only getting better when the lies they're being told directly conflict with a reality that keeps kicking them in the nads with steel-toed boots. And, frankly, to make matters worse, Trump's mental collapse has become so acute that he cannot close the deal anymore, even with the faithful.
This is from the Associated Press. Trump's speech on combating inflation turns to grievances about immigrants from filthy countries. Quote, on the road in Pennsylvania on Tuesday, President Donald Trump tried to emphasize his focus on combating inflation. Yet the issue that has damaged his popularity couldn't quite command his full attention. The president told the crowd gathered at a casino and resort in Mount Pocono, I wish I was making that up, that inflation was no longer a problem, and that Democrats had used the term affordability as a hoax to hurt his reputation. But his remarks weaved wildly to include grievances he first raised behind closed doors in his first term in 2018 and later denied saying, asking why the U.S. doesn't have more immigrants from Scandinavia.
Yeah.
Why is it we only take people from shithole countries, right? Trump said on stage. Why can't we have some pantyhose models? No, he didn't say pantyhose models. Why can't we have some people from Norway, Sweden, just a few? Trump said he objected to taking immigrants from hellholes like Afghanistan, Haiti, Somalia, and many other countries. He added for emphasis that those places are a disaster, right? Filthy, dirty, disgusting, ridden with crime, unquote.
So just laying the racism right out there.
Right.
Yeah. It's never been particularly well hidden on the right. It's what keeps them going. It's what powers them. But they were just going to eliminate all pretense. This is from Salon about the very same rally. Quote, even a local waitress brought on stage to support Trump lamented that her paychecks no longer stretch far enough. Pretty much everything I make goes towards paying the bills, she said. In response, Trump offered advice in the style of Marie Antoinette. Americans must learn to adjust to a lower standard of living, he told the crowd before suggesting that a specific solution to prices hiked by his tariffs, which he continues to insist are a success. You can give up certain products. You can give up pencils. You don't need $37 for your daughter. 2 or 3 is nice. Then he got on his jet and flew back to his private golf course and his gold toilets. Mm-hmm. Back to the article. In a particularly baffling moment, Trump attacked the concept of energy storage, despite Pennsylvania having recently secured hundreds of jobs with a new zinc battery factory. They want us to go to batteries, he jeered. We don't have battery content, so let's go to batteries according to these morons that were in our country, unquote.
Which brings us to the twin subjects of the Affordable Care Act and the collapse of the Republican Party. Mm-hmm. But first, let's go back to the before time when the pre-Trump Republican Party had already clearly lost its damn mind and was a year into the 8-year-long racist primal scream that was their reaction to the election of Barack Obama. What was happening to the Republican Party back in 2009 was perfectly clear to anyone who wasn't being paid to spin reassuring lies to the American public. You can see it in the archives of every liberal blogger who was active during that period, like me and Driftglass. But Driftglass, nobody listens to liberal bloggers. You know that.
No, they don't.
Instead, the general public was still getting its opinions about what was going on and why from places like the good gray pages of the New York fucking Times. And back in 2009, the senior conservative columnist of the New York fucking Times was positively creaming over a senator named John Thune.
John Thune.
Get out your sick bag, because Driftglass is now going to read from David Brooks with, and this is the title of it, right? Meet John Thune.
Yep.
From November of 2009.
Yep. November of 2009. Obama had been in office for less than a year at this point, and it's Meet John Doe. It's the title, it's ripped off from that movie. Strap in. Quote, "Some days the Republican Party seems to be going crazy. Its public image is often shaped by people who appear to have gone into government because they saw it as a stepping stone to talk radio. Womp womp. But deep in the bowels of the GOP, there are serious people having quiet conversations, Blue Gal. The people holding these conversations created and admired Bob McDonnell's perfectly executed Virginia gubernatorial campaign, and now, as they look to the future of their party and who might lead it in 2012, the name John Thune keeps popping up." I'm going to hold it right there. I'd like everyone to freeze where you are and listen very carefully, because for those of you who are wondering how the hell we ever got into this horrendous situation, the answer is right there. It's right in front of you. Pundits like David Brooks, from one end of the legacy media to the other, reassuring the public that while to the casual observer, it might look like the GOP had lost its damn mind and was a bunch of racist lunatics and was making a headlong plunge into crazy town, don't panic, because Mr. Secret Inside Pundit Guy has access to secret inside information that you don't have, and secretly everything is just A-okay. So stop worrying. Just ignore everything. Everything's fine. Ignore those loud, crazy voices on the right saying those loud, crazy, scary things. Now, Mr. Brooks is going to continue talking, and as you read this, imagine it being read by one of the sighing, giddy, hopeful young girls from the advertisement for Milton Bradley's mystery date game.
Mystery date, are you ready for your mystery date? Don't be late, it could be great. Open the door for your mystery date.
Back to Mr. Brooks, quote, "As you may or may not know, Thune is the junior senator from South Dakota, the man who beat Tom Daschle in an epic campaign 5 years ago. The first thing everybody knows about him is that he's tall, 6 feet 4 inches, tanned in a prairie sun-chapped sort of way, and handsome. John McCain jokes that if he had Thune's face, he'd be president right now. If you want a Republican with the same general body type and athletic grace as Barack Obama, you'd pick Thune. The second thing people say about him is that he's unfailingly genial, modest, and nice. I don't know who those people are, but apparently they say things unfailingly. He grew up in Murdo, South Dakota, population 612. His father was a naval aviator in World War II and a genuine war hero. John was a high school basketball star and possesses idyllic small-town manners, like the perfect boy in a Thornton Wilder play." I know. At this point, he's just pants off masturbating.
Yeah.
It's fucking sickening. He appears to be untouched by cynicism. In speeches and interviews, he is straightforward, intelligent, and earnest. He sometimes seems to have emerged straight into the 21st century from a more wholesome time. He is a gracious and ecumenical legislator, not a combative one. When you ask him to mention authors he likes, he mentions C.S. Lewis and Jeff Shara, not political polemiциsts. He doesn't have radical plans to cut the federal Leviathan. He just wants to restrain the growth of government to bring deficits down, Blue Gal. He doesn't have ambitions to restructure the tax codes. He just wants to lift burdens on small business. He says his prairie background has given him a preference for small companies and local government. His populism is not angry. He doesn't rail against the malefactors of wealth, but it's there, a celebration of the small local over the big and urban. At the moment, Republicans are riding an emotional wave. Karl Rove had a piece in Thursday's Wall Street Journal that captures the mood. Obama's being defined as a liberal. Independents are fleeing. The political tide is shifting. That overstates things. Obama remains the most talented political figure of the age. After health care passes, put a pin in that, he will pivot and pick some fights with his own party over spending. In your dreams, Republicans are still going to have to do root and branch renovation if they hope to provide compelling answers to issues like middle-class economic anxiety. But in the meantime, people like Thune offer Republicans a way to connect fiscal discipline with traditional small-town values, a way to tap into rising populism in a manner that is optimistic, uplifting, and nice. Unquote. Now, that was David Brooks's drooling paean to John Thune from 2009. Providing a counterpoint, also from 2009, here is Mr. Keith Olbermann's special comment on healthcare reform and John Thune.
Finally tonight, as promised, a special comment on health care reform in this country, and in particular, the public insurance option. In March of 1911, after a wave of minor factory fires in New York City, the city's fire commissioner issued emergency rules about fire prevention, protection, escape sprinklers. The city's Manufacturers Association in turn called an emergency meeting to attack the fire commissioner and his interference with commerce. The new rules were delayed. Just days later, a fire broke out at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. The door to the fire escape had been bolted shut to keep the employees from leaving prematurely. 150 of those employees died, many by jumping from the 7th floor windows to avoid the flames. Firefighters setting up their ladders literally had to dodge the falling, often burning bodies of women. This was the spirit of the American corporation then. It is the spirit of the American corporation now. It is what the corporation will do when it is left alone for a week. You know the drill. We all know the drill. You get something done at a doctor's, at a dentist's, at an emergency room, and the bills are in your hands before the pain medication wears off. And if you're one of the lucky ones, and you have insurance, you submit the endless paperwork, and no matter whether it is insurance through your company, or your union, or your nonprofit, or on your own dime, you then get your turn at the roulette wheel. How much of it is the insurance company going to pay this time? How much of it is the insurance company about which you have had next to no choice, and against which you have virtually no appeal? How much is this giant corporation going to give you back? What small percentage of what they told you they were going to pay you will they actually pay you? You know the answer, and you know the answer if you don't have insurance. But do you know why that's the answer? Because the insurance industry owns the Republican Party. Not exclusively. Pharma owns part of it too. Hospitals and HMOs another part. Nursing homes, they have a share. You name a Republican, any Republican, and he is literally brought to you by campaign donations from the health sector. Senator John Thune of South Dakota, he gave that Republican rebuttal to the president's weekly address the day before yesterday. He said the Democrats' plan was for, quote, government-run health care that would disrupt our current system and force millions of Americans who currently enjoy their employer-based coverage into a new health care plan run by government bureaucrats. That's a bald-faced lie, Senator, and you're a bald-faced liar, whose bald face happens to be covered by your own health care plan run by government bureaucrats. Nobody would be forced into anything, and the public insurance option is no more a disruption than is letting the government sell you water and not just Poland Spring and Sparklets. But as corrupt hypocrites go, Senator, at least you're well paid. What was that one statement worth to you in contributions from the health sector, Senator Thune? $5,000? $10,000? We know what you are, sir. We're arguing about the price.
Now, 16 years later, in December of 2025, the fairy tales that pundits used to tell about serious people having quiet conversations behind closed doors of the GOP sound as ludicrous as tall tales of John Bunyan or Pecos Bill. The story of the last 40 years of Republican politics is the story of elite conservatives continuously lying to themselves and the rest of the country about the nature and trajectory of their Republican Party. The seething racism that is the rocket fuel of the party, the power of conservative media, which articulated and reflected the id of the party, what the base of that party really wanted, and the lengths they were willing to get what they wanted, which was Donald Trump.
Yeah. Yep. And that prairie sun-chapped future of the GOP, Mr. John Thune, he's now a cipher. He is the walking dead, perfectly willing to be one of Trump's broken stooges in exchange for keeping his job and his title. And Thune's new job is to slightly misquote the movie Margin Call, to be the guy left holding the biggest bag of odorous excrement ever assembled in the history of modern American politics.
This was the fate of the ACA as of 2 days ago. Note the first name mentioned in the first sentence of this article from CBS News. Quote, Senate Majority Leader John Thune announced Tuesday that Republicans intend to put up a GOP-led health care bill for a vote alongside Democrats' proposal to extend enhanced Affordable Care Act tax credits later this week. This program desperately needs to be reformed. The Democrats have decided we're not going to do anything to reform it. And so we'll see where the votes are on Thursday, Thune said at a news conference following a lunch meeting of Republican senators on Tuesday. But we will have an alternative that we will put up that reflects the views of the Republicans here in the United States Senate, unquote. He's talking about health savings accounts and for bronze plans only.
Yeah. So that was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
This is the fate of the Affordable Care Act as of today. This is from KOIN CBS in Portland. Quote, Senate Republicans on Thursday blocked a motion to advance a Democrat-drafted bill to extend enhanced insurance premium subsidies that are due to expire at the end of 2025. That's a couple of weeks from now. Tax credits that Democrats say are needed to keep premiums from rising by double digits next year. The legislation, which needed 60 votes to advance, failed by a vote of 51 to 48. So if it were a simple majority, it would have passed. Republican Senators Susan Collins of Maine, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska voted for the Democratic plan to extend the enhanced health insurance tax credits, even though both lawmakers have called for reforms to the program. Senator Dan Sullivan, also of Alaska, who's up for re-election next year, and Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri also voted for the Democratic proposal. The unusual vote on a Democratic-crafted health care plan while Republicans control the Senate was set up by a deal Senate Majority Leader John Thune struck with centrist Democrats to end the recent 43-day government shutdown. How's that working out? The proposal unveiled by Senate Democratic Leader Chuck Schumer would have extended the enhanced subsidies which were first enacted during the COVID-19 pandemic another 3 years. Our bill is the last train to leave the station. After this, we will not have time to try again before premiums shoot through the roof next year, Schumer said on the Senate floor before the vote. Schumer touted the Democratic plan as a simple extension of these health care tax credits. It's time for Republicans to join us, he urged his colleagues. Earlier in the day, they voted on a Republican plan to convert funding for enhanced insurance premium subsidies into contributions to health savings accounts to pay for out-of-pocket costs. That proposal failed to advance on a mostly party-line vote. The cost of health plans on the Affordable Care Act, ACA, are projected to increase by 26% on average in 2026, according to an analysis by KFF, a health policy research group. Enrollees on the ACA's marketplace who received enhanced premium subsidies are expected to see their monthly premium payments more than double if those tax credits expire in January. Schumer signaled that Democrats would campaign on the issue next year. Hell yes, we are. Ahead of the midterm election. The American people will not forget which way senators vote today, he warned on the floor. Senator Jeanne Shaheen, Democratic New Hampshire, a leading advocate for extending the enhanced subsidies, said millions of Americans will face a crushing financial blow when the enhanced subsidies expire, unquote. Now, you and
Republicans are holding us hostage.
Absolutely. And they're going to shoot the hostage.
And they're going to shoot the hostage. They're going to, I mean, all Americans who rely on health insurance that they pay for in any way are going, only Republicans are doing this. This is not a both sides situation.
No.
Party line, Democrats support help for people buying health insurance.
Absolutely.
Whether you're buying it on the exchange or not. And rates are going to go up for everyone because of the Medicaid cuts. You're going to have pretty much a collapse of the healthcare system.
Yeah. Right. The hospitals, doctors, right across
Nursing
the board.
homes.
Yeah. It's going to all go up in flames. All of it. And here's the thing. And I'm going to make a pitch for my wife. If you're looking for a guest on your podcast to speak with great layperson expertise on the Affordable Care Act, my wife has been tracking the Affordable Care Act since it was proposed and used to hang on her computer, watching the exchange, watching it change, coming to tears over the fact that the website had crashed, and watching Republicans try to kill the bill 60 times, 61 times, coming to tears every time that they're almost about ready to take away health insurance from our family. We certainly can't afford what we would need to afford to insure the entire family.
I think our kids were traumatized the night that John McCain's thumb saved the ACA.
Yeah.
And it was just me sitting on the couch crying because we were going to lose our health insurance.
And
now, if I can talk about our situation for a minute.
Of course.
Our bill, I've mentioned this on other podcasts and probably this podcast too. Our bill for next year for me and youngest child who's in college is $2,561 a month.
Mm-hmm.
I am interviewing for full-time jobs so that I can get health insurance. And I have told the dear folks who I love so much at Crooks and Liars that this is what's happening, that I just cannot abide paying that amount of money. I'm going to have to pay it for January anyway because I'm not going to get a job before January 1st. But I can't pay that for a year.
Right.
And I can't, people at Crooks and Liars have said, well, if they pass something, we can still hold out a little bit of hope and pray every day that somehow Congress will act. And I'm to the point where I'm like, I can't depend on that.
Right.
Even if they pass extended subsidies, at some point, I cannot go on this roller coaster anymore.
Yep.
And it's not doing my heart any good. It's my mental health. I mean, I Monday night, you and I were sitting on the couch, and I'm just melted. And middle child was here, and she started talking to me about get some therapy and get some antidepressants, Mom, because you clearly need them. And I'm like, no, I'm just tired. That's what it is. I'm tired.
Yep.
And I have to leave a job I love, a part-time job I love, because part-time jobs don't provide health insurance, which I understand. Crooks and Liars runs on fumes.
Yeah. Oh, no. They do. Everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone on the left is everyone who you listen to on the left, everyone you read on the left, with very few exceptions, is operating on incredibly thin margins all the time.
Right.
Which is why we
sacrificing lifestyle and all kinds of things in order to keep doing this. Yes.
All the things that we would be doing if we weren't be doing this. And this is not like, you're bitching to our listeners. Our listeners are wonderful.
No. You guys are very generous and we love you. And we are able to pay our bills mostly with podcast donations, but not this bill. And I don't expect our podcast listeners to, up the ante to $2,500 a month. For me to have health insurance. It's unjust.
Yes. And when we look across the aisle and see people getting $100,000 a month.
A week. No, Tim Pool got $100,000 a week from Russia.
Yeah. Or Megyn Kelly
saying, I was duped.
Yeah. Or Megyn Kelly or Candace Owens just hauling in millions of dollars for lying to stupid people.
Yep.
That's what they do for a living, too. And not just harmless lies, toxic, destructive lies that brought us to this place. And they're making fucking fortunes doing that. People who were Republicans up until 2 minutes ago are out there as the resistance.
Yeah.
And they have their own media corporations now. And they have their own book deals now. And we're like, okay, I guess we're out of the picture now. I guess no one needs our voice anymore because the media has decided they don't want to hear from anybody who will tell them the trajectory of the Republican Party to brought us to this place didn't fucking start in 2016.
Right.
And anyway, I'm getting on my soapbox. And
And so the midterms are going to be us throwing bombs at them over healthcare.
Figuratively
Throwing and women crying on TV ads.
Yeah.
Who had to quit work to take care of dying parents.
Yeah.
And the Affordable Care Act allowed them to have health insurance, and now they have cancer. I mean, this is a woman I saw on YouTube. I have skin cancer. My mother's dying. She's at home with me. The Affordable Care Act allowed me to have health insurance. Now my health insurance is $76,000 a year.
Right.
Because you didn't extend these subsidies.
Mm-hmm.
And so in part, I think the original Obama sales pitch about the Affordable Care Act, you said that's what's needed. I think people get that already, that the Affordable Care Act decreased cost, increased the number of people covered, and provided portability and better outcomes. I think the public has been sold on that and gets it because they've seen the benefit of it.
Yeah.
But it is not perfect. And to my mind, this is just now, they are just greasing the skids to get us to single payer or public option.
Yeah.
Because people, just like me, are just not going to tolerate the roller coaster anymore of figuring out, well, and this is the thing. If some generous person donates a couple $100 to the podcast, which when that happens, you and I run to the other room and tell the other person, oh my God, we've got a 3-figure donation.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I go over the cliff again, and it is really true. A $200 donation might cost us $14,000.
Yeah. Yep.
Because if you go over that, whatever that percentage of the federal poverty level that Republicans decide they might vote for to give people subsidies,
mm-hmm.
and you go over that by $1, and I said this to someone on Blue Sky, it's, there is no cliff where it's perfectly okay and affordable for someone to spend 40% of their income on healthcare.
Exactly.
Regardless of how much they make.
Exactly.
No millionaire can afford to spend 40% of their income on healthcare. And no one making $200,000 or $100,000 or $50,000 can afford 40% of their income on healthcare.
Mm-hmm. And there was because the ACA, like every other program of its type, was intended to be a step along a road.
Right.
It was intended to get us from here to there. It's not perfect. Nobody ever sold it as perfect, but it was an improvement to a broken system that
mm-hmm.
had to bribe insurance companies and bribe stakeholders and make sure nobody lost anything and everybody was covered. And it was like, it sucks. It's not what it could or should be. It's what we can pass through Congress now. And one of the pieces that was taken out, of course, was the public option because Joe Lieberman, Democrat, stabbed us in the back.
And then the other thing that was taken out was the mandate. Which included healthy people in the pool.
Which lowers prices
for
everyone.
Costs. Yes.
Yes. But
we were lied to about death panels over and over again.
I really, and you and I don't have much of a disagreement on this, but we have a slight disagreement. Just remind people, these are the same fuckers who lied to you about death panels to get you to oppose this thing, which now most people approve of. Yep. And I think I think I have it right that one of the people who was sounding the alarm that if this thing passes, people will like it was Bill Kristol.
Yeah, you said that earlier this week.
We can't allow this to be passed because if people get it and they like it, they'll never give it up, and they'll make us pay a terrible price if we try to take it away from them. Which is why I don't trust Bill Kristol as far as I can throw a cheesecake underwater.
And we also need to remind people about and replay Trump's promise. I'm going to replace Obamacare in 2 weeks. Yeah. It's going to be easy. Day one, I want a bill on my desk that replaces Obamacare with something fraction of the cost.
Yeah. Over and over again.
He lied. And they've had 16 years to fix the Affordable Care Act if that's really what they wanted to do, but they don't.
No, they
don't.
The
reason they haven't fixed it is they don't want to fix it. They want it gone.
They want it gone. They want
people who can't afford health insurance through their employer to die.
Yeah, it's a simple. I mean, part of the show before I got on this jag was going to be, let's go down the checklist of all the elements that led to the rise of fascism in Germany in the 30s. And they are awfully close to checking every single fucking
Every
box,
goddamn box.
including survival of the fittest, Darwinism. If you're poor and you're weak, maybe you shouldn't survive. And Trump's practically saying, if you're from shithole countries that are dirty,
that are dirty and crime-ridden, you don't get to come here to our country.
We want healthy blonde people. We don't want those people over here.
Right.
But this is the Republican Party as it has existed for decades. This is just their true face they're finally showing to us. And again, they've had 16 years to fix the ACA, and they haven't. And the thing is, it's not fucking rocket science. It's complicated. It has a lot of moving parts. But there is a fix out there: Medicare for all, single payer, public option.
Every other country, industrialized country in the world, has figured out a way to do it for their people.
Yeah. And the only reason we're not doing it here is because the Republican Party, not the Trump Party, because they were opposed to this long before Trump showed up. The Republican Party that shit out a person named Donald Trump because they wanted him to be their true prince. The Republican Party is doing this to the American people.
Yep.
And now they're doing it because they can't stop. Because if they do, there's the big orange monster they created will take their fucking heads off.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad for everyone. I will miss, having my wife know everything there is to know about politics every day because she works for Crooks and Liars.
Yeah. And I can't do it anymore.
Can't do it.
I can't, like I said, even if they fix ACA tomorrow.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I've got a subsidy. I can't face what's going to happen if Republicans come back and, through their racism, because one of the things that happens when you expand programs is black people get them.
Yeah. Oh, maybe immigrants will get them too.
And
I don't know.
We don't want illegals to get this.
Right.
We don't want trans people to get help.
And
we want to make sure we exclude X, Y, and Z: abortions, trans people, and undocumented.
And if the Republican Congress can't kill this thing and kill any possibility of ever passing again, there's always the Supreme Court majority.
Right.
There's always some fucking weird ass
mandate.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's always some weird ass case you can haul down to Texas, take it to that racist troll in Texas who will pass anything Republicans say, send it right to the Supreme Court, and suddenly the Supreme Court says, nope, it's all illegal. We precedent schmecedent. It doesn't matter. So
we're putting it on the double secret docket.
Yeah.
The shadow docket, so we don't have to talk about it. We can just do it.
Yeah.
And give Donald Trump all the power. And literally some of these conservative justices, when they're arguing some of these cases, say, yeah, but what if a Democrat gets to be president? Yeah. Oh, well, we'll worry about that later. We can always reverse ourselves. It's insane.
What was the
that
last
we're letting this happen to the United States of America?
We're not letting it happen.
Well,
I mean, the majority of voters in this country let this happen.
I'm not going to say it.
I will say this. The last step to before Adolf Hitler became Adolf Hitler, he was always horrible. He was the Enabling Act. And it was when they finally, when they drove the communists out of government, had enough votes to pass that he can rule by decree. And there will be no consequences for anything he does. That's the kind of power the Supreme Court, the conservative Supreme Court, gave to Donald Trump.
Right.
They gave him his own empowering act where he can murder someone. And if he can come and say, well, it's part of my job, killing the enemies of the state,
Which he did. He's doing to fishermen off the coast of Venezuela. Yes.
So the whole Republican Party, all branches of Republican Party are the fucking problem. And until this
is not both sides, folks.
No. And it hasn't been both sides for a long time. Next person that says it's not both sides, I don't know, just slap them or something. Or send them our way. We'll educate them. Anyway.
So pile all that on top. And thank you for letting us vent. Particularly me. Pile all that on top of a Republican Party where the music was already about to stop because the big load-bearing lies that prop up the entire machine are starting to fall apart.
Yeah.
During Trump's first stop on his affordability tour in Mount Pocono, Pennsylvania, he claimed he's crushing it on inflation and delivering lower prices and bigger paychecks. However, from Politico, quote, new poll paints a grim picture of a nation under financial strain. Rising costs are crushing Americans, and they're running out of room to adjust. Now, this was a choice that President Trump made to have this happen. I'm just going to say, This was a choice.
Yep.
Nearly half of Americans said they find groceries, utility bills, health care, housing, and transportation difficult to afford, according to the Politico poll conducted last month by Public First. The results paint a grim portrait of spending constraints. More than a quarter, 27%, said they have skipped a medical checkup because of costs within the last 2 years. And 23% say they have skipped a prescription dose for the same reason. While President Donald Trump gave himself an A+++++ grade on the economy during an exclusive interview with Politico's Dasha Burns, the poll results underscore that voters' financial anxieties have become deeply intertwined with their politics, shaping how they evaluate the White House's response to rising costs. Staunch supporters of the president were roughly twice as likely as other Republicans to believe tariffs are a net positive already, although large shares of both groups still said they view them as harmful. Even people who self-identify as MAGA Republicans were split on one of the president's favorite tools. 27% of those MAGA voters said tariffs are boosting the economy, both now and in the long term, while 21% of them said tariffs are damaging in both the short and long term. Half of those surveyed said they find it difficult to pay for food. And a majority, 55%, blame the Trump administration for high prices, even as the White House emphasizes its focus on affordability and the economy ahead of the midterms. A meaningful share of Trump's own voters, 22%, blame the president for the high grocery costs, unquote. I would just add that the chairman of the Fed today said in public that he believes the administration may be lying about jobs numbers.
Yeah.
And the economy is doing worse than the administration says. That is unprecedented for the Fed chair to come out and say something like that. But it's so obvious.
Well, they fired the guy, the person.
They didn't release numbers for October. They're not going to.
Yeah.
And they laid off a whole bunch of government workers. And they're dysfunctional.
Well, they're clowns. They're just a bunch of incompetent,
it is a reality
clowns.
show on Fox. That's what it is.
And Donald Trump has, he went on about how his favorite word is tariff. Oh, the tariff's my favorite word. That should be the great. And it's he'd rather bury his wife than give up tariffs. He'd rather move on to wife number 4 than give up tariffs. He's madly in love with the stupidest idea in economic, modern history. Yeah. And he's never going to give it up because he can't possibly be wrong about stuff.
You can't talk to dead Herbert Hoover about how it worked out for him.
No.
So.
Well, and you can't lie your way out of a burning building, right? And you can't fake news your way off a sinking ship. At the end of the day, the facts on the ground that affect the real lives of real people are what they are. And when the massive ACA price hike explodes on top of all the other Republican broken promises, someone is going to pay very, very dearly for it. And the two men ahead of that line, which I hope is a very long line, are Mike Johnson and John Thune.
Yep. And while all this is going on, did you know that U.S. farmers say Trump's $12 billion bribe isn't nearly enough to keep them quiet, not even by half? Falls way short of their projected $35 to $44 billion in losses on major crops.
Yeah. Going to have to up that bribe money, buddy. Meanwhile, Kristi Noem of the Department of Homeland Security is going to buy Boeing 737 jets, 6 of them, to build its own deportation fleet for ICE because there's plenty of money for that sort of shit always.
Meanwhile, we're sure you all already know about these special election stories. Drift Class, it's a Zapodan miracle.
It's a series of Zapodan miracles, Blue Gal.
In Miami, Eileen Higgins defeated Trump-backed Emilio Gonzalez, become the city's first woman mayor and the first Democratic mayor in nearly 30 years. In Georgia, Democrat Eric Geisler claimed a narrow lead of about 200 votes over Republican Mac Guest in the Athens area 121st district. Democrats have flipped 25 Republican-held legislative seats out of the 118 decided in 2025. meaning they captured 21% of the Republican seats on the ballot. Democrats have gained ground in Virginia, New Jersey, Iowa, Mississippi, Pennsylvania, and Georgia, while Republicans have failed to flip any seats. Vivek Ramaswamy is underwater in terms of approval in Ohio. For governor of Ohio, he's now down by 1 point. He has been up by as much as 10 in the polls. He's now down by 1, and it's early.
Yeah. And nobody likes him, by the way.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that kind of personality that makes you want to vote for him.
Republicans have to defend what things are like for people now because they're in charge.
Right. And even crazy ass Laura Loomer can see what's coming. This was Laura Loomer on Twitter. I cut out all of the hysterical, commie, racist, blah, blah, bullshit. But, quote, a bright red city in a bright red state just went blue tonight. Midterms will be a bloodbath, unquote. Yeah.
So if you're a mentally unraveling 79-year-old degenerate criminal, terrified of any oversight from Congress, and you're looking at potentially seismic midterm elections in 2026, what do you do?
What do? I'll tell you what you do. You go full-ass mafia boss. This is from Heritage Action. Quote, President Trump has made it clear to Indiana leaders, if the Indiana Senate fails to pass the map, all federal funding will be stripped from the state. Roads will not be paved. Guard bases will close. A major project will stop. These are the stakes, and every no vote will be to blame, unquote.
From Politico, quote, President Donald Trump threatened electoral consequences for Indiana Republicans who defy his demand that the state redraw its congressional map to secure more seats for the GOP, singling out a state senator who could help block the effort on Thursday. Trump raged at Indiana Senate Republican leader Roderick Bray in a social media post late Wednesday, saying he would back primary opponents for those who stand in the way of an effort to preserve the GOP House majority in the midterms. Anybody that votes against redistricting and the success of the Republican Party in D.C. will be, I am sure, met with a MAGA primary in the spring, Trump wrote. Rod Bray and his friends won't be in politics for long, and I will do everything within my power to make sure that they will not hurt the Republican Party and our country again. Yeah, he means himself. That's what he means.
Yeah.
Our own governor, J.B. Pritzker, commented on the situation in our neighboring state.
Members of the Indiana legislature are being threatened. Their lives are being threatened. And it's being egged on by the President of the United States. Imagine if this were you. Imagine, I don't think people are behind me who are in the legislature have to imagine they too have been threatened. And so that's what's going on in Indiana right now. We'll see what happens in the end. I know that there are a number of good and loyal and, patriotic Americans that are Republicans, part of that legislature, who have been outspoken in opposition to what the president is trying to do. Remember, he's trying to cheat. He's been doing this all over the country, trying to cheat. I think that our Midwestern values should dictate that we stand up against it, and I believe that the Indiana Senate will do so, but we'll have to see. And certainly the Illinois legislature stands ready to respond if necessary. But I will be clear to the folks in Indiana that we won't stand idly by. Now, we'll see whether we need to take action or not, but we won't stand idly by, and we will, in fact, stand up for the rights of the people, not just of the state of Illinois, but for the nation.
And then what happened, Blue Gal? And then what happened?
Well, the Indiana vote was today, and what happened? Another Zapodan miracle.
I love Zapodan.
The Indiana GOP's new congressional gerrymander failed by a vote of 31 to 19.
Oh,
21 Republicans joined the 10 Democrats in voting no.
Oh, wow.
Dang, Mike Pence didn't work out so good for you there, Donnie Dementia.
Yeah. Well, that's all horrible. Or if you're a Democrat, that's all. Well, we're not popping champagne yet, but it looks really good.
It doesn't matter. It's not good for Democrats because it would have been easier watering down those districts if we're going to have a blue wave like it looks like we had this week.
Yep.
You water down those districts and all of a sudden there's a flood of non-voters, independent voters, people who've given up on voting in fucking Indiana because it's always going to be Republican, and they say, no, I'm going to take a stand and vote for my health care, win or lose, and go to the polls and vote for a Democrat.
Yeah, you've created blue districts.
And all of a sudden, you're had a plus 10 district, but it's now a plus 4 district because you split them all up.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't help, it doesn't help Democrats overall to have, 10 positively Republican districts instead of 2 and 8. But man, I think you just get to the point where the threats are not worth, you have to stand up to them.
I would like to repeat what we heard Mr. Hal Sparks say earlier this week, which was the DLC's job, the DNC's job, Democratic leadership's job is very simple. Red to purple, purple to blue.
Right. Not blue to bluer, because that doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do any good. It doesn't. I mean, it's great if you have it, like a Democrat plus 50, that's fine, but it doesn't buy you anything in Congress. It doesn't get you any more votes in Congress.
Right.
And I think that's a wise policy. And you know what? Because this is all happening. This is all happening. Yeah. It's all in the news. It's all blowing up. It's all bad. Republicans are looking like they caught the car and now they don't want the car, but Trump won't let them get rid of the car because tariffs or whatever.
Yeah.
While all this is going on, you'll never guess what the heaviest MAGA influencers are arguing about, are obsessed with. This is Laura Loomer talking smack about Candace Owens, who was talking smack about Erica Kirk. Specifically, this is a quote from Candace Owens, quote, "You don't just get to be widowed into chairman and CEO," unquote.
Of Turning Point USA she's talking about. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Loomer says, "Can't wait to see how Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly defend this." And so she just dragging everybody into the pool. And in the dumbest pool imaginable.
Yeah.
And then Candace Owens has implied that Tim Pool and other right-wing personalities may have had something to do with the death of Charlie Kirk, to which Tim Pool replied, in part,
"Candace Owens is a fucking evil scumbag."
And I will say that he had so much more to say that we edited for content.
We definitely edited for content.
My wife and I looked at each other and said, no.
Yeah, we're not going to put all those words on our podcast.
No. Not over this issue. And you know what?
No.
But taken all in all, we just love it when the toilet piranhas turn on each other.
Yeah. Well, and Candace Owens has to up the ante. It was the Jews for a while that killed Charlie Kirk.
Sure. Like Jesus.
Now it's possibly, she had a thumbnail for a video. This is what got Tim Pool really upset. A thumbnail of her with her fingers on her chin thinking. And she's thinking of, she's asking the questions about Charlie Kirk's death. And she has 3 clipboards next to her head. And one of them is Tim Pool. And the other one is Kash Patel. And the third clipboard is the outline of a man's head with a big question mark on it. So she's just asking the question about who really killed Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help that, as it's obvious to everybody, Erica Kirk has just flipped and said, okay, I'm in charge of the Turning Point USA millions.
Yeah. That's mine now.
And I will blot a tear from the corner of my eye while I, have pyrotechnics on the stage of my husband's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
So, we said, that's the other thing we said on House Sparks. I mourned the loss of, maybe I said it on Tuesday, I mourned the loss of Joanne Fabrics longer than Erica Kirk mourned her husband.
Yeah. But this is every fascist movement needs their martyrs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And seriously, we could do like 3 hours on just what these people are obsessed with, which has nothing to do
and
with
I'm not really that interested in any of these right-wing influencers. They're all garbage people, but
the point is that they're obsessed with a bunch of stuff other than inflation, the cost of living, the Affordable Care Act.
And I don't know what's happened
housing.
With the lawsuit that the First Lady of France has against Candace Owens for saying that she's actually a man.
Right.
Because, this is the kind of shit that is spewed out on right wing YouTube, and Benny Johnson and Candace Owens both have the AMSR voice going.
Yeah.
So, we're going to do this. Donald Trump's great and we have to fight. And it's a way of just numbing certain people's brains to the point where they just keep watching YouTube.
And when we've talked about this many times already, but just to distinguish, this is a very good example of the difference between the casual lies that get thrown around on the right that are meaningless, that are addictive, that MAGA people just love this shit.
Yep.
This is their bread and butter. Conspiracies everywhere, the secret people who are secretly communist plotting, people inside the perimeter plotting against us.
Yeah.
Those are not the load-bearing lies.
No, they're not.
Load-bearing lies are the ones they don't want to fucking touch. That's why they're doing all this shit. That's why they're obsessed with anything.
That's why they're fighting among themselves.
Yeah. Distract.
And distract. And I know you and I have had arguments about this week in terms of Milo Yiannopoulos claiming that Benny Johnson's gay and someone's gay and who's having sex and who's doing this and who's cheating on their spouses and so forth. And I really look at all of this and the Benny Johnson charge of him being actually gay and having sex with young men at former Turning Point USA. It wasn't called that, but it was something else. And
wait a minute.
Benny Johnson's wife crying in the hotel bar, and it just goes on and on and on.
That's Matt Schlapp's job, just by the way.
Exactly. Matt Schlapp. But Milo was talking about Benny Johnson. Well, Benny Johnson goes on Twitter and says he's going to sue, or he better lawyer up, or he better. I may have to take legal action to protect my family. Right.
Right.
The next time Benny Johnson addresses this issue of Milo Yiannopoulos on the Tim Pool show, he says, Tim Pool called me to apologize. He's a good guy. Not mentioning anything that Milo said about him fucking young men at a conference.
Right.
So, admission, I don't know. It's that I don't want this podcast to be about that. But here's what I will say, and this is where I think you and I disagree a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think what's happening in right-wing podcast world is they smell that Donald Trump's perverted photos and videos are on the horizon. Okay. And that the Epstein stuff is not going to stay hidden for much longer.
Okay.
And it's making their ganglia twitch. And so they're talking about sex. They're talking about their sex lives, other people's sex lives, and, accusing each other of perversions, and then letting that go because the host apologized and so forth. So that when it comes out about Trump,
it's just another thing.
It's just another thing. It's already been amped up to 11 among themselves. And I'm telling you, they are looking for a way to excuse child rape. They are looking for a way to continue to build income off of Donald Trump, despite him decaying in front of us and being a verified. I mean, we already know what he is.
Yeah.
He still has to pay E. Jean Carroll. He does. For shoving her to the ground and shoving his finger inside of her. Right. We know what he did.
Well,
so, but the photos that are going to come out, they want it to come out to be, well, that's not so bad.
Right. It's just another scandal.
And it is.
Washington's full of scandals.
Yeah. Right.
I would like to add two things to that.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, if you are a listener and you have no idea who Milo is or Tim Pool is or Candace Owens is, bless you. Because you shouldn't have to know. They're awful people. They're fucking monsters. This is next week on Stupid Dallas. This is just the dumbest soap opera full of racist, vicious people who are looking to drive the conversation as low and as degenerate as possible.
Yeah.
Secondly, none of these people are sweating over losing their health care.
No.
Because none of these people are poor. None of these people are on the margin of anything. They make an assload of money doing these horrible things. Yep.
Support propping them up.
Yeah.
All day long. And if the Russians send them $100,000 a week, so be it, until they get caught. Nobody ever said Benny Johnson or Tim Pool gave the money back from the Russians.
Megyn Kelly was given a sack of, I don't know how many tens of millions of dollars from NBC to go away.
Right.
She was given a big sack of money to join them because she's a blonde who looks fuckable. And then
Yep.
she was given a big sack of money because they realize our audience doesn't like her and she's not doing well and she has to go. And so she's sitting on a mountain of money, but she couldn't stop being this awful person. She
No.
could not stop.
Could not stop having a camera on her.
Couldn't handle it. And
her
being
hair
controversial.
extensions and being controversial.
Right.
And so Sirius XM has her on with
Right.
Tucker Carlson.
So all of these people are horrible, and all of them are, by any stretch of my middle-class imagination, wealthy. They all got wealthy being horrible.
Yep.
So that's the country we
They're
live in.
amping up the horribleness for clicks and likes and views on YouTube.
And if you were watching American politics back when Limbaugh came online and Gingrich came online, if you squinted real hard, you could see this day coming. You could see people saying, that's not so bad. It works. It gets the idiots to the polls. You throw in a little Jerry Falwell that the lesbians are responsible for 9/11.
Yeah.
And you just watch all that accumulate over time. You can see something like Trump coming miles away. And you can see the money being poured into it because there's so many wealthy people who fucking hate this country
Right.
and hate democracy because it stands in the way of their agenda, who are willing to fund these people till the cows come home. And meanwhile,
One of the other old school bloggers out there, No More Mr. Nice Blog, Steve M.
yeah,
He has said this more than once, but recently he put it up as his blog about birtherism and how birtherism was divided up into different levels of, oh no, that's just crazy talk. That's not the real Republican Party. But there was a place in the Republican Party for people that were full on racist birthers.
right?
There were people like Mitt Romney saying, no, that's not who we are. There were people saying, well, not birther, because he was born in the United States, but he was educated in other countries.
Right.
And his real name is Barry Soweto.
Yes.
And but the thing was, and this is what Steve M makes so clear, is no matter where you are on the birther spectrum in the Republican Party, it always points to voting Republican.
Right, exactly.
So you don't have to worry about where you are or what is happening to your party being poisoned by that racism because it's all good. And the exact thing is happening with Nick Fuentes and Nazis. It's like, that's not our party. You can be full on Nazi. You can say, no, I'm actually MAGA. No, I'm America first. No, I like Hitler. No, I don't like Hitler. No, I want to talk about Hitler, but just in a conversational way. It doesn't matter. You are reinforcing voting Republican because that's the only party that's going to deal with the shithole countries and protect white nationalism from protecting our country from black people and dirty people and crime and all of those things. And so, I never listened to Nick Fuentes and I don't believe in Hitler but boy, I'm worried about crime. I'm worried about, I don't want to see crime in our cities.
Right.
And without Donald Trump, look at LA. Oh my God.
It burns the ground. Yeah.
Right. And all of that. And then add the anti-Semitism as well. I mean, it's all there. And all of it points to we have to support Republicans to protect white nationalism.
And that's why the constant drumbeat for my entire adult life that liberals are commie, baby-killing monsters.
Right.
You have to eliminate any other alternative as utterly unacceptable. As to quote Liz Cheney, the face of pure evil.
Yeah, right.
So that you have no choice but to vote for these people.
Like that farmer.
It's like, I don't want to vote.
That soybean farmer had no choice but to vote for Donald Trump. Right.
I don't want to vote for the violent, crazy little colonel with a funny mustache and his bad, weird anti-Semitic vibes who wrote Mein Kampf, but the communists are worse.
Yeah. Right.
So I have no choice. I have no choice. I have to vote, for lower taxes and the commies are going to come seize my property. Right. So what choice was I given? It wasn't my fault. And except in Germany, the choices a lot of them were really bad. In this country, it took 40 years of propaganda to turn the party of Roosevelt and Johnson and Kennedy and Obama and Biden into the Red Menace.
Right.
And And you have to be completely brainwashed to believe that shit. You have to live in the bubble to believe that shit. And 70 plus million people live in that bubble.
Speaking of brainwashing.
Yeah.
We now have a hapless FBI official, Michael Glasheen.
Yeah.
And I want to play audio of him giving testimony, answering questions from Democratic Congressman Benny Thompson. And you can tell from the way this FBI official talks that his stand against Antifa is pulled right out of Fox News's ass.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And Benny Thompson plays with this FBI official, much like Bosco the cat plays with his catnip toys.
Executive Order Domestic Terrorist Organization, Antifa. That's our primary concern right now.
All right, that's what President Trump did. What does the FBI say?
We share the same view. When you look at the data right now, you look at the domestic terrorist threat that we're facing. Right now, what I see from my position is that's the most immediate violent threat that we're facing on the domestic side.
So where is the Antifa headquartered?
What we're doing right now with the organization.
Where in the United States does Antifa exist? If it's a terrorist organization and you've identified it as number one.
We are building out the infrastructure right now.
So what does that mean? We're trying to get the information. You say Antifa is a terrorist organization. Tell us as a committee, how did you come to that? Where do they exist? How many members do they have in the United States as of right now?
Well, that's very fluid. It's ongoing for us to understand that. The same, no different than Al-Qaeda and ISIS.
No, I don't want you. I'll ask one question, sir. I just want you to tell us. If you said Antifa is the number one domestic terrorist organization operating in the United States, I just need to know where they are, how many people. I don't want a name. I don't want anything like that. Just how many people have you identified with the FBI that Antifa is made of?
Well, the investigations are active.
Sir, you wouldn't come to this committee and say something you can't prove. I know you wouldn't do that, but you did.
Benny Thompson also used the word perjury to Kristi Noem's face in the same hearing.
Jesus.
He is not playing. We want to thank Hal Sparks for having us on this week.
Thank you, Al.
We are on Bob Cesca next Wednesday, the 17th.
Yep.
And Driftglass will be on with Brad Friedman and company next Thursday, the 18th.
Yep.
When somehow we will also have our own show that day. I don't know how, but
somehow
we'll work it out.
Some way. It might just be elevator music for 20 minutes, but we'll be here.
And each week we post to our Patreon page and website an Internet Kitty sent in by you, the listeners. This week's Internet Kitty is Monkey. Monkey was sent in by a listener who described Monkey as my husband's mistress. Monkey also likes to drink water from a small cup in the bathroom. And we know all about that. I don't know how that started, but we have a little plastic cup in the bathroom, and the cats love to drink out of that.
Yeah, it's perfect. For some reason, it's perfect.
Yeah. Of course, Monkey eats freshly poured cat food, our fake sponsor. Whether you serve Pet Store Perfection or Dollar Store Dreck, your kitty will sit on the kitchen floor and demand that the food they eat is only freshly poured.
Freshly poured, freshly poured. Oh, my Lord, it's freshly poured.
And you can visit Monkey, such a pretty kitty, at our Patreon page, patreon.com/proleftpod, or our website, proleftpod.com. And you can send your Internet Kitty dog or other pet to us at our email address, proleftpodcast@gmail.com, or you can also write to both of us. Feel free to write us. We love hearing from you. Be aware that if you write to us at any of our addresses, we reserve the right to read your email or U.S. Postal Service, go Postal Unions, letter on the air unless you say otherwise.
Here's a friendly reminder for this cold weather time. We have a gourmet coffee guideline. You might have heard about it. If you're able to treat yourself to an espresso-based beverage, we ask you to consider treating us to one as well. This isn't charity. This is how we support the work we do. If you can spare just $5 a month or more, we'd be very grateful for your support at patreon.com/proleftpod. We also now take Venmo, So if you want to look us up on the Venmo app, we're there, and you can just throw money at us that way.
Yes, Pro Left Pod on the Venmo app, and you'll see our picture there, so you know it's all about us.
And for 100%, no charge to you, you can really help us out by sharing the show on social media. Find someone you think might like it and make a date. Hook them up with us. Put us in their ear, and they'll thank you for it forever.
Hey, Driftglass, how are the Internet Kitties doing this week?
Well, Blue Gal, the Internet Kitties would like to let you know that the midterms are going to be lit.
Midterm's going to be lit. Happy Zappadan, everybody.
Happy Zappadan. And now I go to shovel snow.
Let's think about living. Think about living. Let's think about loving. Think about loving. Let's think about the hooping and the hopping and the popping and the loving, lovey-dovey. Let's forget about the wine and the crying, the shooting and the dying and the fellow with the switchblade knife. Let's think about living. Let's think about life.
The Professional Left podcast is recorded under a Creative Commons license. Copyright 2024-25, GGBG Productions.